Hey there, filthy animals, Mr. Dirty, back with another episode of the GTM show, and today we're checking out frozen pizza on the show once again. Only this time it's from a company we've never had on the show before, something new to stores. This is going to be from the Urban Pie Pizza Company, and from what I could tell from their website, they have the range includes 4 different kinds. They have the uncured pepperoni and chicken sausage that they're calling the Mission District Pizza. Then they got the pesto and mozzarella, they call that the Little Italy Pizza. They got chicken sausage, roasted yellow peppers, that's the Lakeview Pizza, and then the North End Pizza consists of mushroom and truffle Alfredo. Today we're going to be checking out the Little Italy Pizza, which they got weird names for them all, but this is, like I said, the pesto and mozzarella one. So, boom, there's the package you're looking for. If you're looking for this in stores, take all that in. You got a little window there. You can see our, what appears to be fresh toppings, like fresh mozzarella and fresh tomatoes. It also looks like we got some kind of a shredded mozzarella going on. And we're going to bust this out in a minute here because it looks like all of our toppings are like clumped up right there, and it looks like there's a lot of empty real estate going on. On the website it looks, they've got one slice done up on the website, and it looks like the toppings are dispersed better than what we're seeing here in the frozen state. Now, there's the back of the box, a little more stuff on there. Take a peek at that if you want to see it. Pause the screen. Chug along, check all that out. Our heating instructions have us preheating the oven to 425, place pizza on the center oven rack, bake for 11 to 13 minutes, and then eat and join the adventure. That's a little weird. Real quick description on the front, of course, pesto, fresh mozzarella, that's given. And then they're letting us know down here in smaller print, cherry tomato and basil, Romano provolone, once again, mozzarella, and Parmesan. So let's open this box and take a look at the rest of the pie before we go throwing it into the oven to cook it for, what they say, 11 to 13 minutes, something like that. And real quick, you also might find some variation in the flavoring of the sauce because it says it's made in small batches. Alright, so and there's your frozen pie before it goes into the oven. Lots of tomatoes, and I only see like 4 globs of that fresh mozzarella on there. There should be more, especially when you put that up there in the title. We should see more globs of fresh mozzarella than we do the shredded stuff. Alright, I'm going to go throw this in the oven, and we're going to come back and see what we got. Stick around. Alright guys, we're back. We've got our Urban Pie Pizza Company Little Italy Pizza out of the oven, where it's been in there for, they said 11 to 13 minutes. We set it for 12. We cooked it in there at the temperature that they told us to for 11 minutes. That's what we did. And then the last 60 seconds we threw the broiler on to try to melt out the cheese a little bit. Now generally with these frozen pizzas, before I cut them, I'm able to lift them up and show you, but not this one. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the pesto, the cheese, maybe the fresh juicy tomatoes. No idea, but there's a gigantic pool of grease or oil right in the middle of this pizza. And if I lift it up, it's going everywhere. So I'm going to grab the camera and I'm going to take you down to show it to you. Yeah, you could like swim in this. So now would be a great time to get a life preserver ready, or maybe get your water mussels on, water wings. So check this out. Alright, so there it is. And yeah, if I take you in, you can even see like the glare off the lighting right here. There's like a gigantic pond of grease or oil right there in the middle of the pie. But otherwise it looks pretty damn good, Nice fresh mozzarella. There should have been more of that though. As you see, the 4 clumps. 4 clumps of cheese. It didn't really melt out too much, even though we had it in there for a good bit of time. You can see if we went any further we would have torched it and burnt it completely. Our crust is already like real crunchy and crumbly around the edges, and the tomatoes, you can see that they blackened up around the edges where they were starting to get a little torched. They were nice, fresh, bright red when it first went in. Alright, so now that you had a good look, I'm going to cut it up, and then we're going to go in for a slice and see, what kind of pesto are we dealing with here, how flavorful this is. Alright, I got it chopped up. I've got a decent, I would say a decent 6 slices out of this, and for those that need to know, 10.5 inches is what we're getting from the Urban Pizza Pie Company. As far as price, I'm not quite sure the exact price, but I think this was about $6, something like that. Alright, so I got a nice little slice here that has the pesto and the tomatoes and the cheese right there at the end. Let me go in on it and see what we got. Okay, so we got a really nice pesto going on here. It's got like a real herby flavor, kind of like a strong rich basil flavor also. Not too earthy, not too dirty flavored, extremely oily though. And I think the pesto is where most of that pooling is coming from on this. But yeah, definitely extremely delicious. When you hit that fresh mozzarella, that's nice, but yeah, there should have been a lot more of it, because once you're done with that, the regular mozzarella that's on there, even though it is a good coating mixed in with the pesto, it's like a good coverage, but it's not as flavorful as that fresh mozzarella, you know, go figure. The crust, it's not too cracker-like, it is thin crust, but it's not like a shatterable kind of crust. It's kind of like a pastry where there's layers, so it's very airy. It holds together nicely, and as you're biting through it, even though it's crunchy and it's crispy, it doesn't just break apart and fall to pieces. You know, it stays intact. Plus, with the pesto, the oil and the grease and everything from that, the juice from the tomatoes, the grease from, I shouldn't say grease, I should say oil from the cheese. It kind of moistens it up. You know, I wouldn't exactly it makes it doughy or soggy, but like I say, it's not so crispy. The cherry tomatoes, extraordinarily fresh when these were placed on the pizza and flash frozen. Once again, very juicy, extremely flavorful, and it's got a standout flavor. You know, you can distinguish the tomatoes from the pesto. So even though the pesto is the dominant flavor here, the cherry tomatoes, they stand out like a loudmouth sidekick. Definitely carrying their weight and doing their part of the job. There's like a slight garlic flavor too. That's definitely in the pesto. You know, you got basil, garlic, stuff like that going on with the pesto sauce here. There's absolutely zero red sauce on this pizza, but definitely the amount of tomatoes that are on here adds back with the herbiness of the pesto. It's almost like having a pizza sauce too. Overall, not too shabby. Wouldn't be my go-to, but I'm definitely giving the Little Italy pizza from Urban Pie a solid 4 out of 5. And it seems like they're being their own thing. This pizza, obviously, it's thin crust. It's not going after DiGiorno's rising crust. At the size that it is, 10.5 inches at, what do we got here, 16.9 ounces or 479 grams. I can't see these guys. They're not going after Wild Mike's or the, was it Sasquatch or Bigfoot pizza, the one that's like 2 pounds or, you know, 1.5 pounds, any of those 3-pound pizzas. If anything, this is probably closer to like an Amy's pizza, something like that. But definitely worth checking out. So that's the Little Italy one. I'm Mr. Dirty. This is the GTM Show. Don't forget you can buy Knucklehead shirts and hoodies down in the description. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheRealMrDirty. And as always, get out of here. Go have a rotten day.